Hey, everybody, I'm going to recap for you what happened on Friday and Monday in the Karen Reed trial, which would be day 17 and day 18 of this never ending trial. But watch the intro first. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rebecca, your host of Crafting and Crime Daily. Please, if you wouldn't mind, could you give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing? I am very close to 4,000 subscribers. I can't wait. I know, it's exciting for me. Anyway, what happened on day 17 and 18 in the Karen Reed trial? I'm going to tell you all about it so you won't have missed a thing. I didn't do a video yesterday. Oh my God, we have had some horrendous storms here. And I woke up this morning, put on a pair of shorts, t-shirt, go outside. Oh, it's 45 degrees. I had to come back in and put on a warm sweater. All right, that's enough about me. So Karen Reed's on trial in the state of Massachusetts for second-degree murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, who was a Boston police officer. They were on their way out they were out for a night of drinking. They had gone to C.F. McCarthy's, they had gone to the waterfall, and now they were on their way to a house party at the home of another Boston police officer. When they get there, what happens is a complete mystery, depending on who you want to side with. Prosecution, who says Karen Reed backed up and hit John O'Keefe after he got out of the vehicle. The defense saying she dropped him off at the house party. He went in the house. She never saw him again until the next morning, or earlier in that morning when she, later that morning, because it was already morning. It was after midnight when she dropped him off. Later that morning, she found his body in the snow, and he did not survive. Okay, so what happened on day 17? All right, so the judge starts out the day, which is very weird. You know, she always starts out when the jury comes in by asking them the usual questions. Did you discuss this case with anybody? Did you look it up on social media? You know, the general admonishment questions. And they all have to say no, no, no. And then she talks about, this is very unusual. She says, I just want to give you guys like a little warning, you know, that when you come into the courtroom, you shouldn't be like talking about the case with each other, or when during the testimony, talking under your breath, or making facial, control your facial expressions, things like that. I don't know what happened that prompted this. I know the other day there was a hot mic where someone said asshole, a-hole on a hot mic, and we don't know where it came from. I doubt it came from the jury, but I don't know what prompted this, but this is what she told him this morning. Please, give the attorneys your full attention and respect, and hard work, that whole thing. So yeah. Do you think they're getting tired of this case already? I was on a jury, and I didn't make the jury, but I stayed for the trial, and it only lasted a week. But I can't even imagine having to get up and go into this courtroom. Going on 4 weeks now. We just finished 4 weeks. So this week, though, there's no trial on Friday, and Thursday's only a half day. So they're not even going a full week at a time. Okay. So after the judge gives her a little warning, then the prosecution enters a stipulation, which is an agreement that the defense and the prosecution come to. And it's a fact that they want to agree upon. In other words, they're going to read it, and the jury should just take that as a fact. It's not in dispute. And this one had to do with who attended the autopsy, because the day before we had heard from the medical examiner, and she had testified that there were a couple of officers that arrived during the autopsy, and the jury was shown a photo, but they weren't identified. Like, who are these people? They might have I think the concern is that they might think that it was Michael Proctor attending the autopsy. So the stipulation was, here's who attended the autopsy, these two officers, not Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor did not attend this autopsy. Okay. So that's a fact. They don't even have to think about that anymore. Then we have a DNA analyst take the stand. So boring. This DNA stuff is incredibly boring. So basically, I'm just going to put it all in a nutshell. Everything that they tested had John's DNA on it, as well as a couple of other unknown contributors. But they weren't, in other words, they had people they could compare these unknown samples to. And that included Michael Proctor, his supervisor that we heard from Potomac, that included him. It did not include Kevin Albert, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, these other people, these other individuals that could be involved in this conspiracy that is alleged by the defense. Their DNA was not compared to these unknown contributors. So we know that there was a hair found on the taillight. That hair belonged to either John or one of John's maternal relatives. So probably came from John, plus 2 unknown contributors. Yeah. And then that tail light, same thing. It had the pieces of the tail light that were swabbed had John O'Keefe's DNA on it, plus 2 other unknown contributors. They also found the sneaker from the site. They swabbed the sneaker. The sneaker had 5 unknown contributors to the mixture. So were they just passing around this sneaker? Yeah. So then they put a taillight reconstruction, or I'm not sure, I guess she's a crime scene person. Her entire job was to sit there like a puzzle and put these 40-some pieces together to form a taillight. And she did. And once she got it all put together, I can't even imagine how long it took her. She got it all put together, and they kind of matched it up to the Lexus taillight that Karen Reed was driving, and it was a match. So, and I was wondering if they were going to do that. Like, somebody going to really sit down? Yeah, they did that. They sat down and they put the pieces all together. Yikes. I'm pretty good at puzzles, but I'm not sure I'd want to sit through that. Yeah, anyway, because it's all that reddish orange color, you know. Anyway. Okay, now we're going on to, before I leave from this person putting the taillight together, all of those pieces she obtained from Michael Proctor. They were handed over to her by Michael Proctor. Anytime the defense can mention that guy's name, they're going to. All right, let's get over to day 18. They put on, the defense puts, the prosecution puts on an expert in, turns out nothing, but he works for this company that does accident reconstruction, and he is an expert, or he's holding himself out as an expert in vehicle and cell phone extraction. And he was asked to extract the data from the Lexus. So he did that, and he came up with this, a 3-point turn event and another event where she backed up the vehicle, or the vehicle was backed up. Now, here's my thought on a 3-point turn. If she did, because he timed it at 12:23 that this occurred. There were other people out there. Wouldn't they have seen someone doing a 3-point turn in front of this house? Okay. And then the backup event occurred at 12:31. Okay. So, okay. Then we got the cross-examination, and boy, there were some fireworks on this one, let me tell you. First, Alessi, the they've got lots of defense attorneys, but Alessi, he's really pretty good. He starts out by saying, talking about bias, confirmation bias. And he says, your report uses the word homicide, which you were told ahead of time. You're reporting this as a homicide before you've even done your testing. Isn't that confirmation bias there? And then the rest of this, oh my God, this poor guy, the cross-examination. They pull out his CV, his curriculum vitae, which is just a fancy way of saying your resume. When you're an expert, it just becomes a curriculum vitae. Or basically, if you're a professional, you usually have a curriculum vitae. So they pull out the curriculum vitae, and on this it says he's in the process of obtaining a bachelor's of science degree from the University of Alabama. And okay, but then he took him over to the company website that he works for. Here's your company website. And on this company website, he's representing, or the company is representing, that this guy has a bachelor's degree in general science from the University of Alabama. And he had to agree, no, that's not true. He says, no, I don't have a bachelor's degree. I'm in the process of getting a bachelor's degree. I'm like, oh, okay, he's in the process of, okay, we'll give him a pass. He's getting his degree. So then they looked at LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn says the same thing. He's getting he says BGS, a bachelor's in general science degree. But it says he has one. But you don't have one. No, I don't have one. But that's just LinkedIn. That's just, social media. Nobody really looks at that. And I'm thinking, if somebody's looking at LinkedIn, that's where employers go to find professionals, and maybe other cases are looking for experts, and you're representing you have a bachelor's degree in general science when you don't. So as if that's not even enough, he has an associate's degree, and he's holding himself out as an expert. Excuse me, but that's not the best part. Oh my God! Here's the best part. They found a CV from back in 2015 that says that he has a bachelor's degree in general science. And he's like, no, that's inaccurate. I was pursuing a bachelor's degree in general science. In 2015, he goes, yeah, when did you start pursuing your bachelor's degree in general science? 2008. He has been pursuing his bachelor's degree in general science for 17 years. What? I'm speechless. That's just crazy. That's not the best part. That's not the best part. Are you aware, sir, that the University of Alabama doesn't even have a degree, a bachelor's in general science? There's no such program. He goes, well, it's supposed to just say bachelor's of science. Bachelor's of general science. Or bachelor's degree in general. No, it's supposed to say bachelor of science, whatever. And he just couldn't talk himself out of that one. I just thought that was really, really fun. This poor guy. Nobody's ever going to hire this guy again. He's done. He better go finish that degree because he's done. Then he had to talk about his methodology for conducting the tests that he did on the Lexus to be able to come in and say the things that he's saying. And the way that his methodology was, his company actually purchased a similar model and make of vehicle because they couldn't test the Lexus itself. So they purchased a similar make and model of vehicle to do the testing on that. So he says, was there, because when you're an expert, you're supposed to be talking about science and stuff that's been peer reviewed and tested, and nothing out there on this. Nothing. There's no literature on the method that he used to test the vehicle. And certainly not the make and model that Karen Reed was driving. So I think the jury is probably just going to dismiss this whole thing. But wait, there's more. In January, he comes out with this report about what was extracted from the vehicle. He never mentions the 3-point turn or backing up. Doesn't mention those in his report. Then, May 8th, he issues a supplemental report after the trial starts. This trial started in April. After the trial starts, he issues a report where he mentions a 3-point turn and backing up the vehicle. Now, I was thinking maybe that 3-point turn, maybe, did that happen at the waterfall when they were leaving, maybe? That's just a thought that I had in the back of my head. I don't know. But anyway, this guy's toast, and they're not done cross-examining him. He's still on the stand. He's got more cross-examination today on day 19. Yeah, that's going to be good. Really good. I can't wait to hear the rest of this cross-examination. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Like I said, you didn't miss a whole lot here that would sway you one way or the other. But I'm thinking the jury is not taking too kindly to this expert that the prosecution put on, especially since the prosecution didn't bring all this out. They should have just addressed it during his direct examination. Your CV says you're getting a Bachelor of General Science. They should have addressed it then and let him explain. They didn't do that. Instead, it comes out on, brought out by the defense. Now it looks like the prosecution was trying to hide the ball here. Like, you don't really have an expert here. You have a guy with an associate's degree testifying to this highly technical stuff that he didn't even go to school for to learn. Anyway. All right. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. If you're in the tornado place like we are, like the wind is just whirling around right now, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Bye, everybody.